called it's a type of like a cerelac. You guys don't have it here, but it's like a meal. What do you call that? Like
Oatmeal?
cornmeal, like a cornmeal. And he uses that, and I saw him using it. It's not cerelac, actually. It's maizena, which is another brand. But he uses this sort of cornmeal to finish these bills to make it the consistency when you touch it feel exactly like the real stuff.
Is it made with the same paper?
No, it's a different paper. The paper is the hardest part to get because the paper you can only get in the U.S. Federal Reserves or wherever the paper comes from.
But
It's not.
Like an easy thing to duplicate. Paper.
It's not very hard, and particularly if you put all the little creases and curves and what. Yeah,
what about those little things that you can only see with like a flashlight? And stuff like
they
that?
have ways around that too. It was incredible. We brought some home. Haven't used it. It's at my office, but it is.
Isn't it illegal to possess that stuff?
Okay, so we actually didn't bring the actual. We brought the cutouts, so we wouldn't be able to use it. But it's in the background of my podcast. So
whoa! This episode is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. We all know ultra-processed food isn't good for us as humans. Why would it be any different for our dogs? The Farmer's Dog is real, fresh food for dogs, and their recipe goes beyond just using good ingredients. It's all about how they use them. Unlike most pet food, they always use real meat and vegetables and gently cook them to retain vital nutrients without any of the bad stuff that comes from ultra processing. Their food is developed by a team of on-staff, board-certified vet nutritionists who make sure it's all complete and balanced, and it's backed by research and made to human-grade safety standards. It's portioned for your dog, making it easy to manage their weight. And they label each pack with your dog's name that lets you know that this food is truly packed for them. Plus, they have 24/7 customer support, so you can chat with real dog people who care about your dog anytime. The Farmer's Dog says good ingredients matter, but the best recipes call for so much more. Head to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. This offer is for new customers only.
You can see the cutout. And it's phenomenal. It's crazy.
How many bills that are counterfeit make it their way into our currency? Is this it right here?
Yeah, this is it. This is the finisher. Yeah. Here he is. And you see he's teaching, he's showing me. And there's a glue too, yeah.
And so he's making it seem more weathered, more worn?
Yeah, and they make it seem weathered and worn.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
And how many...
Cricket's porridge, you see, yeah.
Yeah, so he scrubs it down a little bit?
Yeah, with a toothbrush. All stuff that he bought at the store, like next door,
How much currency goes through this guy's production?
I cannot remember. This was 5 years ago, season 1, but it was a lot. And it's the U.S. Secret Services that are in charge of going after these guys. So we actually saw the real money being made when we came back to the U.S., and but I can't remember. But it was millions of dollars. I mean, it was like 5 or 6 families in Peru, in Lima. They're the center of all this. That were in charge. That were the best of the best at making these, and we got inside one of these.
And how does that stuff get into U.S. distribution?
Usually in bags. Commercial airlines, just like drugs. A lot of drugs make it in commercial airlines. Same thing. Commercial airlines, bags, people would carry. The money mules would carry it. Actual carrying money, yeah.
And then when it gets to America, what do they do with it?
They distribute it. So it's funny. It's interesting. They actually they go to small towns and they distribute it in grocery stores, and they don't go to like a Walmart or a big superstore. They go to small first. And that's how it gets in the general.
So they just buy things with it?
They buy things, and I wish I remember, this was 5 years ago. They buy things, but they also have people that exchange that for less cash. Yeah, that's what it was. I think they end up getting people.
So people that know.
Yeah, that know, and they end up getting like 70% of what, I think it was something like 70% of the actual cost for real bills. So they get real money in exchange for giving.
They get
people.
70% of what a real bill is?
I mean, the whole operation, I think, was.
So if you have a $20 bill, you get 70% of that back in profit? Like a fake
back in
$20
profit.
bill?
Yeah, the head of the group that then sells the bills when they're made.
I would have thought it would
was
be
like
way less than that for
70%.
someone to be willing to
Yeah.
exchange you real money for fake money.
Yeah, I have to verify. Again, this was 5 years ago. But
Okay.
we've done 50 episodes, but I think it was something like that, if I remember
That's
correctly.
crazy, though, that it just gets distributed by small businesses.
Yeah. And so one of the things we started was we reported on a lot of these small businesses that found out that they were having massive amounts of loss every year from fake bills. And I remember it was in Oregon. We did a few stories there where a lot of people were complaining about this. Small business
How
owners.
do they get
complaining about
discovered
it.
that they have fake bills?
I think they go to the bank and try to.
Oh, the bank
Yeah,
knows.
they
So
try to
does the bank
deposit it.
do they like look at every number on the bills? Like how do they find out that they're fake?
I think the bank is able to find out just by looking at it.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
because I think it would fool us, but it doesn't fool somebody who's trained to look at these bills.
So the bank, when you bring money to the bank, they look at every bill and
They're
make sure it's
supposed to.
legit.
Yeah, I know that's how they figured out that they had.
You got to
been
go to a
given
lazy
counterfeit.
bank. go to a bank where people are just phoning it
Partying
in.
all night.
Yeah, they just assume that it's real. They don't care. Yeah, that's crazy though. So like,
Yeah.
what is like for the overall United States? Like, how much money comes in every year that's fake?
Oh, I cannot remember at all the statistics, but it was a lot. It was like in the millions of dollars that people were making down there.
Wow.
It was crazy, yeah. But this all back to the story of why I talked about this guy, about why people talk to us. And back to the Cartel USA story, which started in Sinaloa. There was a point to this. You were asking me about how it ended up in the U.S. Oh, what I discovered with cartels operations in the United States. So one of the people we interviewed, which was really fascinating, and it was somebody who carried this load on his back, and why he decided to talk to us was this guy called El Gringo, or we called him El Gringo. And El Gringo is an American citizen who doesn't speak a word of Spanish, and who's sort of the wholesale buyer of drugs from the cartel, and then is in charge of distributing the drugs here in the U.S. He distributes most of his drugs through commercial airlines, usually Delta, because they have really good baggage fees. They 70 pounds. 2 bags, 70 pounds if you fly business. And so a lot of times it was strippers who would carry the drugs from the West Coast to the East Coast. And he one of the things I'll never forget, he says, if you're taking a Delta flight from the West Coast to the East Coast, I guarantee that there's a very high chance that somebody is carrying drugs on one of those flights.
Wow. You said strippers?
Strippers, yeah.
Why do they use strippers?
Because because people don't suspect it's a woman, so people are less suspicious of women, and there's a higher chance that they'll make it, and they are more likely to take the money to do this. In this case, to do this job, or at least those are the people that he found would agree to do this.
Boy,
I don't want to say anything bad about strippers.
You get
but
busted doing that though.
yeah.
That is a big penalty.
Yeah,
You're going to jail
I
for
know.
a long
It's
time.
It's obviously a terrible idea.
Such a risk.
Yeah. So this guy, El Gringo, decided to talk to me. And he was the one who contacted me. He contacted me initially. And when telling me that he had a story he wanted to share, that he was involved with the cartel. And then so when we started doing the story about the cartel, I reached back out to him and said, actually, I'm doing a story about cartel presence here. Would you want to be on the show? And he agreed. And he traveled out to me. And we met. And he said, look, I've been dying to tell this story because if I get whacked, which he thought he might, he wanted his story to be out there. He wanted somebody to have heard his whole story.
Wow.
Yeah, and he'd been threatened by the cartel. They'd been sent him photos of his house, and where they knew exactly where he lived and where his family was. So, yeah, crazy stuff.
Jeez. So
That was a crazy story.
when you go over and you have these conversations with the cartels, like what is that like? Do they blindfold you and drive you out there? Do they take your phone away?
Yeah, they ask for our phones to be off.